Hello, in the following video we will see how to build a UI for a Shopify discount function. For this, we will be using admin UI extensions, which will let the UI we build to be directly embedded in the Create Discount page on the Shopify admin, as you can see over here. Doing it this way will mean that we will inherit many of the settings already present in the Create Discount page, but with the additional benefit of being able to add the fields we need to make our function configurable. To do that, in this video we will be using the order discount function we built in a previous video. I will leave that video link in the video description and somewhere at the top here as well if you want to go into detail on how I built this function. But let's do a quick overview here anyways. The goal of this function is to add a tier discount depending on how many unique products the customer has in their cart. So if the tiers are in increments of 5% and the customer has 3 unique products, then they get a 15% discount. Additionally, we have 2 other parameters here, which are the minimum number of unique products the customer needs to have to qualify for this discount, which is set to 2, and the maximum discount they can get, which is set to 20. You can see that currently these 3 parameters are hard-coded over here, but ideally the merchant or the person creating the discount can set them up without needing to come over here in the code and make a change, which is what we will be doing throughout this video. And now, going over the actual function's content, starting over here at the top, we are looping through the different line items that are present in the customer's cart, and we are adding their ID to a set. A set is like an array, but it only keeps unique values in there. So by putting them here, we are deduplicating them in case there are duplicated values. Then over here, we are checking if the size of this unique product set is less than the mean unique products. If it is, then we return an empty discount because the customer isn't qualifying for this discount yet. If they qualify, we are multiplying the length of the unique products times the discount per product, and then using math.min to cap that at max discount, the value that we set over here. So we are capping this at 20%. Then over here, we are returning the JSON object that this function needs to return for Shopify to apply this custom discount. Starting over here with the discount application strategy, we are using discount application strategy.first, although it doesn't matter much because we are only returning a single discount in this array. For the message itself, we are creating this string over here by using the discount and this unique discounts product that we are computing over here to create a message that looks like this. Then we are passing the actual percentage value that we are discounting to this order, and over here we are not excluding any variant IDs, so we just pass an empty array. And the data the function receives is controlled by what is in this run.graphql file. So over here you can see that we are querying the cart and getting all of these properties to be able to use them in run.ts. And over here is also what we will use to connect this function to a UI, and that is this meta field over here. The high-level overview of how we will connect a UI to this function is by making the UI store the data that is set when creating a discount in a JSON meta field. Then in this input query, we will request that meta field and pass it to the function. From there, we can access it in the function's body, parse the JSON, and run the function's logic based on those values, instead of in the hard-coded values that are currently there. So let's go over here in the root of this project and let's run npm run Shopify app generate extension. From here, we are going to pick discount function settings under admin, although you can search for it as I did over here by typing discount. And let's give it a name such as discount UI. I will select TypeScript with React, but you can select whichever option you want. And now let's wait for the dependencies to install. And after the dependencies are installed, we have this discount UI folder. If we go over here to src and then discount function settings.tsx, we can see all the boilerplate that came with this. We are going to remove most of this, but there are a few things we will keep, such as what is being done over here to create the meta field definition, and then to parse the meta field's values. But before doing that, we have to fix a few errors that came over here. The first one being at the top with the target that is not being recognized here, and the reason for that is because this seems to be a bug, but when you create a function, it is using an older version of the Shopify UI extensions library. An easy way to fix this is to just go to the browser and go to the npm page of Shopify UI extensions, the same library being used over here. We can see that the latest version is 2025.4. So we are going to copy this like this, paste that here, and replace this 0 with an X with the same nomenclature that was being used here before. Then I am going to cd into extensions discard UI and run npm install. After a moment, we are going to get this node modules folder over here, and now the error that we were getting here with this target is removed, is fixed. Maybe Shopify fixes that in the future, but in case they don't, then that's how you can fix it yourself. Next, we have to link this UI to the function. For that, I will go to order discount Shopify extension.toml over here, so the toml for the function, and I will add a new property, extensions.ui. And over here, this has a single property, handle. To get the handle of the UI, we are going to go over here to its shopify.extension.toml file and grab the handle from here. So the handle of discount UI, we are going to paste that handle over here in the shopify.extension.toml file for the function and save that. And the last bit of config we have to do is over here in the topmost shopify.app.toml, which is the one for the entire app. We have to update the scopes, so we will need to add buy discounts in case you didn't have that, and then read products, because we are going to be reading the products later to add a new feature as well. After this, we can run npm run deploy to update the scopes. Print this is a new version. And after that is done, we are going to be running the app. So we are going to do npm run dev. After that is done, we will see something like this, and I will press P to open this in my browser. And then I will click on install your app to install it in my store. Over here, we can see the scopes that we gave the app access to, products and discounts. So I will click on install. After having this installed, let's go back over here to the dev console and click on this link over here. And we can see already the UI for creating a discount, but it has this discount function settings block over here, which was not here before. This is coming directly from our app. And it has this discount percentage field because that is what came with the boilerplate, but we will modify this shortly after. However, let me show you how you can get to this screen under normal circumstances, because as you can see, I came here by clicking on this link. But once you don't have the app running in development mode, you are not going to have this screen here. So in your store, if you go to discounts and create discount, you are going to see that now we have discounts function UI, which is the name of my app. And over here, I have order discount, which is the name of my function. If I click on this, we are in this same screen for creating a discount. So the same one we have over here for development. The only difference is that here we have this developer console and here we don't. But you can see that it has this discount function settings section to control the different parameters the function will receive. So now let's go to the tab that has the development version. Open over here because this one has hot reload. And going back to the code, let's go to discount function settings.tsx and let's start modifying this. The first thing we want to do is to do for the meta field namespace and meta field key. These are in constants already in this boilerplate, but we are going to move them from here at the bottom to here at the top. We have to make sure that the namespace and key match what we have over here in this GraphQL file. They don't. So I am going to copy this namespace and paste it here. And for the meta field key, we can see that it is the same function configuration for both. Next, over here, we can see that the meta field namespace and key are hard-coded in a couple of places. We can fix that. So let's do meta field namespace here and meta field key here. And here as well, it's using that hard-coded value. We can use meta field key instead. Next, we will go to the top over here and create another constant, const default form state. And over here, let's do discount per item. Let's say that the default value is 0. Maximum discount, and the default value will also be 0. Excluded products. This will be a new field where we will set some products to exclude from this discount calculation, just so you can see how you will be able to approach that in a discount functions UI setting. And then min unique products, the default value will be 2. Next, let's start removing the things we no longer need. Starting with this percentage field over here, we no longer need that. Then over here, we are going to remove everything inside this form over here. And for this use extension, let's pretty much remove all of this because we are going to be rebuilding this from scratch. So all of this from here. And we no longer need this because we are not going to localize this function. And now let's understand what we are left with. So we have this get meta field definition function, which is getting the meta field definition from the Shopify admin API. You can see over here the full query, although you probably have this as well if you created this function using this boilerplate. And then we have this create meta field definition, which is also using the admin API to create the meta field definition. We can see over here all of the configuration that this definition has. So it is using this key and namespace that we configured. This is the name for that. You can change this here if you wanted. The owner type is discount, so this is a discount meta field. This discount we are creating will own this meta field. Then the type over here is JSON, and we can see here that the merchant can read and write this discount, and we can see here how that is being created. Then this parse percentage meta field, we actually do not need this function, so let's remove it as well. And let's save this. Now in useExtensionData, we are going to get another item. Let's get resourcePicker. We will use this to let the person creating the discount pick which products they want to exclude from this function later on. Now let's start creating the different states and variables we will need. So over here we have initial meta fields, and this will be default to data.metafields, or it will be an empty array. Then let's have a loading state, so loading and set loading, and for this we will use state, and this will start being false. And then we have saved meta fields. This will come from other state, and we will get this from initial meta fields. Next we have the form state and set form state. This is going to start being the default form state we created over here at the top. So it will start with these values. And then over here we will have initial form state and set initial form state. We need to keep this separately because the form component in the admin UI extensions use the default state for something else. You'll see later on what I mean. So let's save this. And let's now create a function for updating a single field. So let's do update form field. This will be equal to a function. And here you pass the field and the value. And we do set form state. We have the previous state. And we are going to return the previous state and then this field with its new value. Next, let's get the initial values for the meta field. So let's use useEffect for this. And over here, let's start by creating a function, an asynchronous function, fetch initial data. Over here, we are going to do set loading equal true, and in the end, set loading will be the false. And let's call fetch initial data. And then in this section over here, we are going to fetch the actual data. So let's start by doing const meta field value. This will be equal to save meta fields, but find. We're going to do meta field. We're going to get the meta field key, and if the meta field key is equal to the meta field key constant, then we got the value. Then if meta field value, we're going to try to parse this. So parse value will be equal to JSON.parse meta field value, and then we are going to compute the initial state from the meta field. So we will have default form state, and then we will override the fields that are already populated, if any. So discount per item, this will be equal to parse value discount per item. If this is undefined, then we're going to do number parse value discount per item. Else we're going to keep it as default form state discount per item. And we're going to save this. We actually have to have a catch block over here. So if there's an error, let's just log this into the console.error. Error parsing meta field value. And that's the error over here. We are going to do something similar for the other fields. So I will copy this, paste it here, and let's do maximum discount. We are going to copy this and paste it here, here, and here. Then we are going to do mean unique product. Copy this and paste it here, here, and here, and save this. And for excluded products, we're going to do parse value dot excluded products, or we're going to use default form state excluded products, because we don't have to parse this. This is just an array. And here we have this error. Let's see. This is because over here, forgot to add the value. Next, we will do set form state to this initial state, and set initial form state to this initial state as well. And let's actually put a dependency here when this initial meta field's value changes, because over here you can see that we are getting this from this useAPI hook, so that is giving us the data value, and then from data we are getting data.meta fields. So whenever the meta field changes, we want to recompute all of this. Next, we are going to create a function for applying the meta field changes. So apply extension meta field change, and over here we are going to do const result will be equal to await apply meta field change, and over here we have to pass a JSON, so update meta field. Namespace would be meta field namespace, key will be meta field key. Then the value will be JSON.stringify, and we are going to put over here the form state, and then the value type over here, this is JSON. And over here we can load the result in case there are any errors. Finally, let's have a function to reset the form, reset form, And over here, let's do set form state, and this will be equal to initial form state. And now let's return from here all of the different things we have created. So the resource picker, we are going to use that. Apply this over here, apply extension meta field change. So apply extension meta field change, form state, update form field, preset form. We're going to also use initial form state and loading. And now we are ready to start building the UI. So let's copy all of these fields we are returning from here, and let's scroll to the app component here and remove this and paste that here where we are calling this useExtensionData hook. Next, we are going to have over here this function settings component. We are going to keep this here because whenever we are creating a UI for a Shopify function, we have to wrap that in this function settings component. Then we have this form component over here. We can see that there is an error because we are missing the onSubmit method or here. So let's put that here, and let's also pass the apply meta field change. Next, let's start building this here. So let's create a section. We have to use the section component. Remember that in admin UI extensions, we can only use the components we are importing from over here. There is a video in the channel going over that, but if you have not seen that video, basically the components we have access to are listed over here. So we can render anything from this list, but you cannot render regular HTML or other React components that are not in this list. You can click on any of these components to see the different properties that they accept, and some of them have a preview here so you can see how they look like. Going back to the code, let's go here with this section component here, and let's have a block stack. But let's give it a gap of large. And from here, let's add a number field. The label for this will be minimum unique products. The name will be min unique products. Its value will be form state dot min unique products. And then for the default value over here, we're going to do initial form state min unique products. If we have that, then we are going to turn this into a string because the default value expects a string. As you can see over here, we're going to turn that into a string. So initial form state dot min unique products. If we don't have that, we're going to turn what we have in this field, in this constant over here. So let's copy this, paste this here, and then min unique products, and save this. Now we have something that we can see over here in the admin. So let's refresh this page, as that was stuck loading. And you can see that now we have this minimum unique product setting, which is the one we have created. Next, let's do onChange. We receive a value here, and we are going to do date form field min unique products, and we are going to pass here a number, or we're going to cast this value to be a number, and then let's give this a min of 1. So the minimum that this field accepts is a 1. Now we can copy this field, paste it below, and we have a discount per item. The discount per item will be the name. We're going to copy this name over here, paste it here, 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 and here, because the process is roughly the same. The only difference is that now we're going to have a suffix of a percentage. So we can see this percentage over here. And once again, we are going to copy this field from here and paste it over here. And now we're going to name this maximum discount. The name will be maximum discount. We're going to copy this, paste it here, 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 and here. And the suffix will be a percentage as well. And this is how these three fields end up looking like. You could do something like wrapping this into an inline stack if you want. For example, let's import it from the library over there, and then let's paste that over here. So if you wanted to make that look a bit more tight, you could do something like this, and then set a gap here of space as well. And there you have that looking like this. You could even include this field over there because there seems to be enough space for the three of them. But I will keep all of them, each one into a separate line. It is up to you how you want to display that. Next, let's focus on excluding products. So for this, let's create an inline stack first. The heading, we have to import it from this library. The size, let's say that it is 4. Let's do excluded products. Over here, we're going to have a button that we import from this library as well. Scrolling to the top here, this is the library, so we always have to choose to import it from Shopify UI extensions, React admin, whenever we are presented with the option over here when including a component. Going back to this, on click, we are going to have here an async function. And we are going to do await resourcePicker. The type will be product. The action will be select. We are going to allow for multiple selections. And then the selection IDs, we're going to do form state excluded products that map product. We're going to do over here ID product.id. And over here, let's log this result. And also let's call how to close this. And then let's call update form field excluded products. And pass over here the result. Now, if I click on this, we see this product picker, and I can select products. If I click on select and click again, we see that the result is being saved. Let's add some text to this button, such as select products, and we can see how that looks like. It is functional, but we can improve it maybe by adding here inline alignment of a space between, and then block alignment center. If you are familiar with CSS Fluxbox, these two properties behave like justified content and align items. So you can see over here that now this looks a bit better by having the title over here and then the button here on the right side, and they are both centered vertically. And now let's render the list of excluded products so you can see at a glance which products are being excluded without having to click on this button every time. So over here, let's do form state dot exclude products at length greater than 0. So if this condition is met, so if there are excluded products, then we are going to here render a block stack. Let's close this. And inside the block stack, we're going to do form state excluded products dot map product. And from here, we are going to return and inline stack. Let's save this. Let's give this a key. of product ID. Let's see why do we have this error over here. Because this should not be there. There it is. And now let's do block alignment, center. Let's give it a gap of small. And the inline alignment to be a space between. And here now, let's start rendering the product properties. But which properties are we getting? So let's go to the console here. Let's select some products, such as this one and this one. And if I click on select, we can see over here the product object with the different properties we are getting. So I want to render the title. Let's see, do we have the product title here? There it is, we have the product title. I want to render the first image, so in the images array, in the first one, I want the original src property, and that will be it. So let's go to this inline stack. We are going to need a box here, and then image. So we are importing image from this library as well. The source will be product.images, the first one, original src. The accessibility label, which is the alt text, will be product.title. And then right next to it, we're going to have text product.title. And we're going to save this. Now, let's refresh. And let's select these two products. And over here, we can see you are getting the image. It is the full image. And we are getting the product title. We want to improve this a little. So let's have over here, or let's put it here in the end instead. Let's do width. This will be equal to 100 and height will be equal to 100. So these are the parameters for this URL. So we are not rendering that full size image because we are just going to render it in a size like this one over here in a thumbnail. Let's select the images and we can see that now they are a smaller version of them. We have to do it this way because there are no parameters for controlling this image component at the moment. Next, let's add a pressable over here, which is like a button. It accepts a click handler, but it does not look like a button. So you can see that a button has these styles, a pressable has no styling, but we still can click on it. And then over here, we are going to import the icon component. We are going to use the cancel icon. So cancel in its minor variant. So I'm going to select this. And now if I select a few products here, we can see how that looks like. So have the cancel icon looking like an X here. And you can see what we're going for. When we click on this icon, I want to remove this product from the list. We have to move this text out of this box. And now let's wrap all of this in another inline stack. And this one will have a block alignment of center, then an inline gap of base. And now let's add product. And here we can see how that is looking like, but it does not behave how we want. We want this title to be right next to the image. And so let's fix that. And for that, we are just going to give this blocks an inline size of 50 and a block size of 50. And after saving this, we can select the product. And we are going to see that the title is now better aligned with this image. And that is why we are also setting the width and height of the image through this parameter here, because we don't need the full size image to display it on this small size here. And now that we have done all of this, let's check if this is working. So I am going to create an automatic discount called the tiered discount. Let's change discount per item to be 5, maximum discount to be 20. And let's exclude the gift card and this one. And let's save. And let's see what happens. So, after saving, we can see that the discount has been created. And if I go to the discounts tab here, we can see that discount is created. This is of type order discount, which is coming from my app. We can see the app icon here, although it is just using the default app icon. But anyways, if I click on this, we go back to the settings screen for this discount and we can edit all of the different fields we have created. But there is still something missing, and that is that if I click on this X icon over here, nothing happens, because this on-click handler is still empty. The way to fix this is to just over here do updated products. This will be equal to form state.excluded products, and from here we are going to filter this product. So p.id, this has to be different from product.id. And now we are just going to do update form field, excluded products, updated products, and let's save this. So now if I refresh this page over here, we can see that if I remove this product from this list and then click on select products, we can see that the gift card is no longer selected. But if I close that without selecting a product, there is an error over there. Let's see. Let's refresh this page. Let's try to see what is happening there. So let's remove the gift card once again. Let's close this here. And we can see that that is because the result is undefined. So what we are going to do over here is to check if result, and only then we're going to update the form field. So now let's refresh. I can remove this from here, open this, close this, and nothing happens. But there is another issue, and it is that when I remove a product from this list, I cannot save. So you see here that there is no save button. However, if I edit any other field, such as this one, and change this to 01, for example, I can save. You can see here that this save button is now enabled. So if I click on this and save, we're going to see that the list got updated accordingly, and then this field also now has a 1. But why can't I save when I just change this excluded products field? So even if I'm adding a new product, I cannot save. I don't see the save button. Let's see the reason for that and how to fix it. So this is happening because we are rendering all of this inside of a form component. As you can see over here at the very top, we have this form component here. And over here, the resource picker is triggered by clicking on this button. But you can see here in this description for the form component that it is basically handling form controls or input fields like text field, checkboxes, and buttons. But this resource picker doesn't count as any of this, so it is not triggering the contextual save bar that this form component will show whenever any of these fields changes. The way we can work around this limitation is by creating another input field that tracks this state but keeping it hidden. So let's create a box and let's give it a display of none. And here we're going to have a text field. In this text field, we'll have a label of excluded products. The name will be excluded products field. The value, we are going to compute this, and then the default value, we are also going to compute this. So let's create a function over here to compute the default value. For this, let's just name the function format product this, and it receives the products. And then we're going to return if products.length is greater than 0. Actually, let's say that this would be an array of objects. If products.length is greater than 0, we're going to do JSON.stringify products.map p.id, else we're just going to return an empty array. And we have to add this. Actually, as we don't have an object type, let's just make this of type any. Although if we had an object type, we will use it over here. We can create one, but I will keep this video simple and just leave it like that. And then over here, we are going to call this function format product IDs. We are going to pass it form state.excluded products. And over here, we're going to do the same, form state.excluded products. And let's see, we might have something missing over here. And the error is that I accidentally imported this text field from the wrong library. So this should come from here. And now if I go back down over here, let's look for this. There is. Now we don't have the error anymore. So to recap what this is doing, we are creating this text field over here to track when the excluded products change. For that, we are formatting them into a string with this function over here, setting that as a value and the default value, and having this with display none because we don't need the user to see this. This is just for internal purposes. So now if I go back to the settings for my function, let's refresh the page over here. And now let's add the gift card. And nothing changes. Let's see why is that. So the issue is that over here I am using form state for both the value and the default value. This one should be initial form state. The reason this was messing things up was because when value and default value are the same, then Shopify doesn't detect that there has been a change in the form. That is why we need to keep track of the initial value to use it over here, because this is not only the default value, but also what Shopify is using to track when the form changes and when they should display over here the save button. So now, let's select this product over here, and we can see that now we have the save bar. And I can click on save, and we are getting the product over here. So now we have a UI for this function, but the function itself is not reading any of these values yet. Let's fix that. So for this, I will go to run.ts again, and let's start by creating an interface configuration that will define the different settings we have for this function. So discount per item, this is of type number, maximum discount, this is of type number, min unique products, this is also type number, and then we have excluded products. This is an array with an ID of type string. Then we can have here the default configuration. So let's do default configuration. This will be of type configuration. And over here we do discount per item. Let's do the default to be 0. Then we have maximum discount, the default will be 0. Minimum unique products, let's do the default to be 2. And excluded products, the default will be an empty array. Now from the function over here, we are going to do const config. This will be equal to json.parse input discount node meta field value. And if this is not defined, then you are going to have over here an empty object just so this doesn't error out. Then we're going to have const configuration. This will be of type configuration. This will be equal to the default configuration. And then we're going to do discount per item, row config, discount, to do discount per item. And if this is not defined, then we're going to do default configuration discount per item. And we're going to do the same for the other properties. So let's do maximum discount over here. Let's paste this here, paste this here, and paste this here. For main unique products, we're going to do the same. Paste it here, here, and here. And for excluded products, we are also doing the same. Now we're going to create a set with the excluded product IDs. So excluded product IDs, this will be equal to new set. And over here we're going to do configuration that excluded products that map product. We're going to do product.id. And we are going to modify the way that we get the unique products over here by first creating a constant product. This will be equal to line.merchandise as product variant. From here we're going to get the product, and we are going to check if product and if excluded product IDs has product.id is equal to false. Then we're going to do product IDs.add product.id. We're going to remove this line, and we're going to return product IDs. And then we are going to replace this hard-coded constant over here with configuration.mean unique products. Over here, we are going to replace this constant with configuration.discount per item, and then over here, this hard-coded constant with configuration maximum discount. Once again, over here, configuration.discount per item. And let's save this, and let's go to the store and see this in action. And now from the store, let's add a product to the cart, such as this one. And you can see over here that we have this 5% discount. The reason the discount starts computing at just one product is because we set that over here in the configuration for the function. If I make this to be a 2 and say that the discount per item is now 3% per item, we are going to save this. Let's remove this from the cart. Let's add it again. And we don't have a discount anymore. However, if I add another item, such as this one, we should now have a 6% discount, as you can see over here, because we're getting 3% per item. And to test the excluded products, from here you can see that the gift card and the selling plan ski wax are both being excluded. So from the store, let's try to add the gift card over here. And we see that we are still at 6%, because even though we have 3 unique products over here, the gift card is not being taken into consideration for this computation. If I add another product that is not this gift card, such as this one, we see that we now have a 9%, because we have 3 unique products that qualify for this discount, being this one, and this one at the top. The gift card is ignored. But we can go to the settings once again, remove the gift card from this list, save, and if we make any updates to the card, so the function once again, just by, for example, increasing this, we can see over here that we have a 12% discount now, because all the 4 unique items in the card are counting towards the limit. Again, then put the quantity of this one back to 1, and we still have this 12% discount. And there you have it. This is how you can add a UI to your discount Shopify function. If you found this video helpful, remember to like and subscribe for more Shopify related content, and I will see you all in the next one.